Our next guest was in the room for that address. Let's welcome in Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson is also a member of the Homeland Security Committee and Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, welcome back to the show. Zelensky gave a very emotional plea to you and the rest of Congress this morning. We saw the reaction that you all gave him on camera, but what was the reaction like after the cameras went off?
Well, first of all, it was heart-wrenching. It's quite honestly sad that President Zelensky felt he had to address a joint session of Congress and basically beg for the kind of support that he should have been offered ahead of time. You know, those MIGs should have been quietly transferred to Ukraine more than a week ago. And the first person that should have even known about them was the Russian pilot that got shot out of the sky. This administration should have been lining up all the lethal defensive weaponry that NATO, that Eastern European countries could have been providing and flooding into Ukraine should Vladimir Putin invade. But we haven't been prepared, so we've been slow to react. And the Ukrainians are being slaughtered. This is completely unjustified, completely unprovoked. Ukraine represented a threat to no one. And I think one of the more poignant points that President Zelensky made is the fact that, yes, Ukraine is fighting for their children, for their families, for their freedom, for their democracy, for their country. They're also fighting for all of our values. And so freedom-loving people must provide the support that the courageous Ukrainian people need, that President Zelensky is begging for.
You know, Senator, the thing that's fascinating to me about this crisis and the address that he gave is that, you know, I feel like so many times when another country or another leader comes to talk to people like you and the rest of the Congress, they're saying, can you send your troops? Can you get involved? Can you intervene? What Zelensky's been asking for and what he did today, again, was say, like, hey, we got this. Our people will fight this fight. We just need you to send us some supplies so that we can match the Russian army, which, frankly, you guys in America told us you'd do in 1994 when we agreed to give up the nuclear arms that we had, right? That was the deal that you, the United States, made with us when we gave up our nuclear weapons. Do you think that, like, you know, the president, I guess, announced another $1 billion. Are we giving them enough? And do you feel like your colleagues today, you know, rallied around that call?
Well, listen, I think Congress is almost unanimous in wanting to provide that support. It's the Biden administration, President Biden, that is dragging his feet on this. You know, it was very reminiscent of President Poroshenko coming in here under the Obama administration, where Congress had unanimously authorized $300 million of lethal defensive weaponry. That was under the Obama administration. And the president of Ukraine then, President Poroshenko, had to come in and beg us, saying that he couldn't fight Russia with blankets and night vision goggles. This is after, you know, Russia had invaded Crimea and also eastern Ukraine. So again, history is being repeated again under a Democrat administration that is conveying weakness to the world and literally tempting our adversaries to take advantage of the moment.
Earlier this week, Zelensky announced that Ukraine knows it cannot join NATO and it's not intending to. But also today, he proposed a new coalition, which is called U-24 United for Peace. So how is that being received?
Well, listen, I think we need to be open to different international organizations. I think it's important that there's a forum for world leaders to meet. But yeah, we have to recognize how completely ineffective and corrupt the UN is. And we ought to be looking at different organizations where freedom-loving people, the democracies of the world, people that embrace our values can meet and we can coalesce around our goals and an effective response to the tyrants of the world. Because what's happening here is really breaking out and shaking out into the free people, Western democracies against Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, the tyrants of the world. And unfortunately, they have a seat at the table in our current international organizations. They really don't deserve one, not when it comes to making the types of decisions we need to make in countering their aggression.
You know, Senator, it's funny. There's this headline that I saw in the Washington Post. It's in the opinion section, but it says, the war in Ukraine is proving that Russia is no longer a superpower. And I thought to myself, okay, this is a country, I mean, clearly their army doesn't look to be doing that great, but this is a country that still has a ton of nuclear weapons. And I thought that does seem a bit too far, a bit of a stretch to be describing them not a superpower. Where do you come down on that?
Well, first of all, they have oil and gas and they have nuclear weapons. That's it. Western economies are well north of $35 trillion in GDP. Russia's somewhere between 2 and 3 trillion. So, I mean, who's pushing who around right now? Who's afraid of who? So, yeah, we need to respect the fact they have nuclear weapons. It's, I'm sure, what Ukraine regrets ever giving up, because you can see what's happening now to their territorial integrity. They're being slaughtered. Atrocities, war crimes are being committed in a territory that we were supposed to assure would remain free. So, again, there are some very bad lessons being learned by tyrants around the world right now because of Western weakness.
Senator, I only have seconds left for you, but I do want to understand this question, because at what point does the U.S. and NATO allies say enough is enough? We have to intervene for Ukraine, or they will be overtaken by Putin?
Well, first of all, give them what they need, and we're not giving them what they need. We also need to do everything we can. Sean ought to recognize this, being the communications business, both of you. We need to flood information to Russia. The best outcome here would be for the Russian people to depose Putin, but they need to understand what's happening, and right now they don't. But we need to give them the Su-300 anti-aircraft missiles. We need to let them have those MIGs. We need to give them more Javelins, more Stingers. We need to give them the support they need. We have to stop dragging our feet.
Yeah. Senator Johnson, really appreciate your insights tonight. Thank you for being with us.
Stay well.